Joe Agnello, aka the Barber Guru on Instagram, is the CEO and co-founder of City Image Barber Shop. With 10 locations in northern New Jersey, they are the largest privately owned in New Jersey and one of the largest in the US. He was crowned Entrepreneur of the Year in 2022 by the CT Barber Expo. He gives away free advice on his Instagram, and he coaches barbershop owners with over 200 people signed up for his masterclass. Today, we're going to hear all about what steps do we need to take and what is it like in the beginning before you open up a shop and all those first steps. If you missed the last conversation, then you need to go back, because if you get there as a business owner, and if you're already there, you're going to want to check that out, because if you want to continue to grow and have success, it's super important that you hear what he's got to say. Welcome back to the Hairdresser Strong Show. My name is Robert Hughes, and I am your host. Today, I'm with Joe Agnello. How you doing today, Joe?
Doing well. Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. So everybody who's listening and watching, definitely go back and watch that first episode. It's you definitely don't want to miss this. We talked a lot about like how you be successful as a business owner and how you scale. And now we brushed on things that have to do with the beginning steps. I'd like to start with something that we were talking about, is like paying yourself. If you're gonna, the message in the last episode was that if you pay yourself early on, that's the way to go. Like, you need to pay yourself early. You need to pay yourself based on being able to hire somebody else. And that makes a lot of sense to me. And However, however, I was also thinking, like, how much money would I have to walk through the door as a business owner in the bank to ensure that I had that ability to pay? Like, I to me, that sounds like I would need quite a larger amount of capital before I start. So I got construction and I got supplies and maybe like a first month, couple few months of support staff. But then but my pay? That was not in my plan. So why don't you anyway, so I thought that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, so I think that now more than ever, startup costs are at an all-time high. The price of everything has gone up, whether it's from rent to construction to materials to supplies for the barbershop to furniture for the barbershop or salon, whatever business you're opening. Uh, it's all gone up to signage. People forget about the sign that you have to put up outside your building. If you're in a strip mall, you got to put most likely a sign that matches everyone else's. You can't just put a little banner up. Like, you got to put something up that everyone has. So signage has gone up. Uh, Landlords are a lot less lenient ever since COVID as well, because a lot of them unfortunately got kind of screwed over, right? And unfortunately, so they're a little tougher now. So they want 2 months security deposit, and they want, first month rent sometimes. And if you don't have the leverage to be able to negotiate a lease due to your multiple locations like we do, and I'm not saying we negotiate like we pay nothing. Obviously, we still pay a pretty penny, especially being in northern New Jersey. But we have a bit more leverage to negotiate these leases. Whereas if it's your first location, why would they trust you? Who are you? And think as a landlord, who are you? Who is this person that's saying they're gonna come in and succeed? They don't trust you, so they're gonna want a couple months security. They're gonna want their first month rent. They're gonna make you pay premium price, and they're also gonna want a personal guarantee, right? And be careful with that personal guarantee, because if you don't if you have to close your business after a year and you have a 3-year loan, a 3-year lease, or a 5-year lease, they're probably going to sue you for the other 4 years. So now that means you have to get an attorney involved to look over the lease to try and negotiate it with you. Some landlords don't talk to anybody but an attorney. Guess what? That's another couple $1,000s. So these are a lot of costs that people don't realize. They just think like, I'll just throw a couple chairs and a couple stations and it's, I don't know. The days of opening up a barbershop with $10,000 are over. I would say at the very minimum, with like the cheapest stuff around, you're looking at 30 to 40,000 at the very minimum. And I'm talking about, yeah, I'm talking about the middle of the United States also. Like, everyone's like, oh, well, because you live in close to New York City. No, 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 no. Like, I'm sure that the cost of things has gone up everywhere, right? So 30,000, when I tell you 30,000 is like, if you can open up a barbershop with $30,000 with all the things I just mentioned, you're barely putting anything in that place. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
you got stuff that's costing you. Maybe you're going on Facebook Marketplace and seeing if people are giving away some chairs and giving away some stations that are all beat up, and you're trying to open up, and that's fine. But think about the employees you're going to hire at that point. Do they want to work for a shop that has beat up chairs and stations? So it all comes down to maybe you're not ready to open up a business yet if you don't have that capital, right? Oh, I'll just get a loan. Okay, go. Go get a loan. See how difficult it is nowadays. Again, loans, they're barely giving anything out. They're barely giving a credit card to people anymore. Because why? Think about it. After after COVID, people have jacked up their credit card bills. They've gotten crazy loans. And now the banks are worried and saying, I don't know if these people are going to pay their money back. So let's pump the brakes and stop giving so much money away. And we need to refocus on the money that we have out. Like it's just common business, right? So, yeah, if you're looking to open up a shop or a salon, you got to have a good amount of capital because it's not so much about startup costs, it's also about money to float you. You said paying yourself. I think you should pay yourself. I've made that mistake, like I said in the last one, that I didn't pay myself um in the beginning, and it is a mistake because you think your business is doing better than it is, right? So I would say set a timeline. Maybe I go 6 months without paying myself, or maybe I pay myself for the first 6 months but a very very low amount, and then I boost it up. If in 6 months I'm not at the point where I can pay myself a little more, have a plan for yourself, just like an employee, right? You have to give employee raises. Well, give yourself a raise little by little, right? So yeah, but you have to obviously have those startup costs. So you talked about how do you get there? Well, you got to be saving money. You have to while you're a barber working in a shop, don't get the nicest car and the nicest jewelry and go on the most expensive vacations if your goal is to open up a shop because you can no longer do that with $10,000 from your grandma. It's
and then
not
the credit too. Like you
well,
gotta have
yeah.
good credit and cash, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You have to have good credit. That's with anything. For example, in our shop we get Belmont chairs. Belmont chairs are up to like $5,000 a piece. God bless if you could afford 6 Belmont chairs straight up with $30,000. God bless.
Totally.
Not happening, right? Like it's very difficult. So they have a plan to where you can lease the chairs at a very low interest, right? But guess what you have to have? Credit. They're not just going to say, hey, let me give you $30,000 worth of chairs for 3 years payments, and we hope that you pay it back. Like this is not a pair of Hanzo shears. This is $30,000 worth of chairs. Like you need to have credit for that. And if you're a barber and you think that working in a shop that's paying you cash is helping you, it's really not because your chances are you're not putting the cash in the bank account. I hope you are. I hope you're, even if you're getting paid, look, just because you're getting paid cash doesn't mean you don't have to show it. That's the misconception a lot of people have. It's like, oh, well, the owner of my shop only pays cash. Okay, well, it doesn't mean that you don't have to deposit in the bank account. You can show the cash. You can pay taxes on it. But no, it's too easy not to, right? So now if you think that you've been hoarding all this cash, well, try and show up to your landlord. Some landlords might be okay with it, but like most landlords are gonna be like, I need a check for this, you know? And then try giving your contractor all right, maybe the contractors, I don't know.
Oh,
But
they'll
like
take cash.
yeah, I guess if you're we deal with like real
Like
straight.
builders.
Yes, like normal like people that run a business and they do
Yeah.
not. If I say, yeah, I'll give you, first of all, we don't have cash, but even if we did, they'd be like, no, I want to check. Like they want everything to be on point. So, you know, my point is you can't show up to everything with cash. The cash under the mattress is not doing you any good. Showing showing that you made 60 grand a year gets you more than keeping 60 grand keeping 60 grand under the mattress. Because with showing that you make 60 grand a year, you can apply for way more things to be able to run your business, right? Credit cards, obviously. You want to start your business with a no interest credit card. Well, you're not gonna be able to do that if you don't have credit. So I would say like I said, 30,000 is a very minimum on a barbershop, and that's probably like in an area where things are not as expensive and rent is really, really low, and but at that point you can't charge high prices anyway.
So I I've run some numbers. This was just after COVID, so 3 years ago. So prices may have come up a little bit from then, but for a salon, I was looking at nothing to do with the geographic area, just the ordering stuff online, like the supplies and the chairs, and it was around 30 to 50 thousand dollars. That did not pay for any construction at all. I think it might have gotten you a paint job, so you have to like go in and find a shop or salon that already has chairs that I think it was like cheap chairs and like cheap IKEA mirrors to get started. And so yeah, that I think that's anywhere in the country you're going to need to order this stuff online, unless like you said, you're going to Facebook Marketplace, or if you're lucky enough to get a shop that has decent furniture already. But that like it doesn't even cover the problem is like you said, the float or the burn. Like if the business doesn't have money to burn on operations for the first few months while you're like building and hiring, then how the heck you're gonna be checking people out and doing a haircut and like
And for a salon, you're right. And for a salon, you need those things, you know? Like
yeah.
you need uh the front desk person, you need the assistant, you need for a barbershop, you don't even need those things, and the fees are still high. You know what I mean? Like the startup costs are still higher than they used to be. Remember, and that's the problem. That's the problem with our industry is for so long, it was so easy to open up a barbershop, right? What did it take? $10,000? Like that's nothing, right? To be able to open up a business. That doesn't happen anymore. And now that's why I think you're going to see a lot less barbershops opening, right? Because it's just costing way. And I know of two different cases, and this happened in the last 2 years in our area. I'm never going to mention names, of course, where these people signed leases and started construction and couldn't follow through with like they had to close before they even opened because of their, and I mean this in the most respectful way, ignorance to the costs that would incur. You know, they didn't know that they had to do all the electrical and they had to do all the plumbing. It's like, well, who do you think was going to do it? Like, and then they opened up the walls and there were termites and stuff like
Oh
that. And it's like, well, but if you take the lease as is, in our last location, we took the floor up. This one that just opened. Half of the floor was all rotted. Guess who had to redo a whole new subfloor
my
and go
gosh.
underneath in the basement and reinforce it with the joints? My contractor had to do it. The landlord's not going to take care of it. I took the space as is. I could try. Yeah. Legally, I took the space as is. Now, how am I supposed to know that? Am I supposed to uncover the floor before I sign the lease and be like, oh, you can't do that? So unfortunately, these are things that come up. It cost me an extra $7,000 in construction just to fix that floor. To do a whole half of the place needed a whole new subfloor, then liquid leveler, which is expensive, right? Then the liquid leveler seeped into the place next door, unfortunately, and it caused them to have issues. So I had to have a contractor had to have someone go clean it, and that cost a couple $100. It's like it's just like things like I know that that's stupid, but these are things that people don't realize. Like so, in these two instances, these people unfortunately signed leases, and 6 months to 8 months in, they could never open up their shop because they bleeded so much money. Because remember, the landlord wants to start getting paid. You're lucky if you get 2 months free. You're lucky, you know?
I know a salon owner, and I won't name names, actually multiple salon owners who paid 300,000 to 600,000, varying like salons. And because they had to put in the HVAC system because they got a brand new space. Like that was something that I discovered when I'm going and looking at spaces. It's like this space is dope, but it's got dirt floors.
Yes.
It's like
Yep.
I gotta pour the subflooring. I can do all the electrical, all the plumbing. It was $500,000.
And like I said, when you have a bit of leverage, so like we were about to get into a space that was the same thing. It was a brand new building, cookie cut, just it was going to be a vanilla box. We straight up told them we're not doing the HVAC. We're not doing any of this stuff, and they were about to do it. We decided not to do it because And thank God it was like right before COVID, which is crazy. We
Oof,
decided not to
yeah.
do it because it was going to take longer than they thought, and we just didn't like I don't know, just something was going down, and we didn't like it, so we didn't feel comfortable. But they were prepared. They had it on. We had a lease in hand, and they were going to do subfloors. They were going to do all the electrical. But again, they wanted us in there because when
Right.
you have a track record, you can leverage a little more. But if you're a first time business owner, why would they ever? Why they can get a chain to come in, and they know that chain is probably going to succeed. Not just a salon chain; it could be anything. It could be a Jersey Mike's. It could be a pizza. Why are they going to take the risk on you? So most
Right.
of
And
the
they know they're
time,
going to be there 10 years.
exactly. So most of
Yeah.
the times, the landlords are not going to give you anything but the space that you see, and then you got to do everything. So be aware of that stuff because I think a lot of people think of residential when it comes to commercial. If you're renting a space and your toilet breaks, you call the landlord or the super, hey, my toilet broke, they come in, they fix it. Right? The kitchen sink, the stove breaks, hey, my stove broke, they come and they replace it. That's residential. Commercial, hey, this broke, okay. What do you want, a number to somebody to fix it? Because I'm not like we're not paying like that. I'm used to it at this point. Like I don't even call unless it's something structural, like the roof is leaking, because that's different. That's structural. Anything else is my responsibility. I don't even, and I have people that ask me even my own employees, they'll be like, wait, the landlord doesn't pay for this? No, no, it's not the landlord's responsibility. That's your responsibility. So these are things you have to think
Well,
about.
so this is I think this was an incredible like a conversation about the startup. If you're sitting there and you're like I want to be a shop owner, I want to be a salon owner, and we're talking more than a suite. Like if you want to do your own thing, go out on your own, you still have to consider all of this. And if you want to go bigger to where you're going to have employees, then it's really important you consider some defensive or secure, like being safe, playing some safer moves because you're going to have people relying on you. Thank you so much for taking the time. This was incredibly valuable and such a good conversation. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are going to really appreciate having listened to this. So thank you so much. Do you have any, like, just to sign off, any last pieces of advice or words of
Yeah, if you
wisdom?
yeah. I mean, listen, if you follow me on Instagram, I give a ton of free content away. You can just go back years and years and you can hear all the things that I've said over the years. I try not to repeat my content actually, which I probably should because it's smarter to repeat, but I don't. So you're going to hear a ton of different things. If you go on the link in my profile, you'll find some free stuff as well to download, such as a checklist to get you through the opening of your brand new barbershop, right? It's a 70-point checklist. If you just follow it, some things might not apply to your state, that's fine, but like it'll get you through it. But then I also have two ebooks. One is called the Owner Mindset Edition, and the other one is a Team Builder Edition. And what you want to do is you want to read both of them, right? And they're ebooks, they're digital downloads. You want to read both of them because the first thing you have to do is you have to get your mindset right. Being in business is not just about having the money and the capital for it. It's about having the right mindset. So even if you're working in a shop or in a salon, because this applies to salons as well, if you're working in a shop or a salon and you're thinking of going on your own eventually within a year, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is, read this book because it really tells you how to start to live your life as an owner before you even become an owner while you're at work, right? Giving first, for example, like you have to give first. So that if you're still in the shop, you want to give first to your teammates and you want to just provide that value, so that when you start working for yourself and you have a team, you're already used to that mindset. Then the second one is a team builder. All right, you're going to own a shop. You want to learn how to build a proper team and build a winning team and how to have them enjoy working for you and growing with you. And it has all the secrets to that. And it's really good stuff, really easy reads. I mean, if you read it all in one sitting, it's like 45 minutes, like nothing crazy, right? Then I have the masterclass, of course. Right now, we are doing the videos only, right? And then once you watch all the videos, you can graduate into going into our advanced coaching course. The videos are normally like $1,000. It's a ton of content. It's 80 videos with over 150 slides, and it teaches you how we operate our business, basically. And a lot of it is focused on team. That is it's usually $1,000. I think it's at like $300 right now. It's totally well worth it. It took us over a year to produce it. And then, of course, you can graduate into our advanced coaching where we meet on a monthly basis with private calls, and group calls as well. And but that will focus on once I don't allow anybody into the advanced coaching until they've watched all of the videos because I want you to really be prepped. I want you to really be serious about this before you come in. We've made that mistake to where we bring people on too early and they're not really serious and they pay the money for no reason, honestly, because they shouldn't have. So, um, again, checklist is free. Ebooks are I think they're like $9.99 each. But if you get the videos, the ebooks come with it. And I think the videos are like $300. All those links are in my profile. Again, I'm not just doing that to sell it on you guys. I really do think it's a lot of value. And anybody that has taken it, I have had zero chargebacks, which means that everyone has enjoyed it and everyone has learned from it. Other than that, keep on just listening to things like this. There's never enough knowledge that you can have, right? And you might not like certain things I said, and you might like other things I said. It's okay. Take the goods, chuck the bads, and do the same thing for everybody that you listen to. Don't just commit to listening to one person all the time because then you become that person. And nobody's perfect, right? So if you're only listening to business mogul number one and you think that that's all I want to hear, well, he's not perfect. Trust me. He has imperfections as well, and he has issues with his own business that he's just not relating to you, right? So listen to his story, listen to her story, listen to his story, and then you piece together who you want to be as a business owner, and that is how you really succeed and just take care of your team because that's always number one. Other than that, that's it. That's the secret.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll make sure all those links are in the description below. And also, if you check out the website, there will be a page just for Joe, and he'll have list all that information there as well. You can get the links below, or just if you're watching on Instagram, you can it'll at the bottom of the screen, you'll see something that tells you what to do to get all that information.
Sounds
Thank you
great.
so much, Joe. It was really great to officially have a conversation with you and sit down with you and get to know you. I appreciate the time.
Likewise, man. Thank you for having me on, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, I hope to have you back again on the show. And until then, have a good one.
You too. Thank you.